Welcome investors! Today we'll be talking about the dollar being the world reserve currency and about the dollar slowly losing its strength and the leading position as a global reserve currency. So if you're interested, keep watching. Don't go anywhere. Starting from 1816, which was the end of the Napoleonic Wars, United Kingdom pound sterling was the dominant reserve currency in the world. This lasted until 1944, Bretton Woods Conference, which was the moment when the US dollar replaced pound sterling as the world reserve currency. In fact, replacement of the sterling by the dollar as the world leading reserve currency was a process that took 30 years, from 1914 until 1944. The real turning point was the July to November 1914, when the financial panic caused by the start of the First World War led to the closure of the London and New York Stock Exchange and the mad scramble around the world to obtain the gold to meet financial obligations. At first, United States was short of gold. The New York Stock Exchange was closed, so Europeans could not sell US stocks and convert dollars into the gold. But within a few months, massive US exports of cotton and other agricultural products to UK produced huge trade surpluses. Gold begins to flow from Europe to United States. Wall Street begins to underwrite massive war loans for UK and France. So by the end of the First World War, the US emerged as a major creditor and a major gold power. The dollar percentage of the total global reserves begins to soar dramatically. Dollar was becoming stronger and stronger after First World War. Actually, the time from the end of the First World War to the beginning of the Second World War, which is the years from 1918 to 1939, was the time when the world has two reserve currencies, rising in power US dollar and weakening United Kingdom pound sterling. Finally, in 1939, England suspended the gold shipments in order to finance fighting in the World War II, and this drastically diminished the role of UK pound as a reliable store of value. Replacement of the pound sterling as the world reserve currency was a process, not an event. It was correlated with the growth of US economy long before First World War. The time between the wars was inevitable transition from pound to dollar as the leading currency in the world. Right now, we can observe signs of the dollar slipping as the leading global reserve currency. In the year 2000, dollar assets were about 70% of global reserves. Today, in 2021, dollar is at 62% of global reserves. If this trend continues, we will eventually see this figure going under 50% in not so distant future. And at the same time, we have another power rising where all the gold is flowing in right now. In the years from 1914 until 1944, we have massive inflow of gold into United States. Right now, we have a massive inflow of gold into the China. Officially, China reports that it has 1,054 metric tons of gold, but that figure is from 2009, And since then, China acquired huge amounts of gold without reporting this to IMF and the World Gold Council. And you have to understand one important thing, that China is not a free society. It is run by the Communist Party, which is essentially a dictatorship. So any data coming from China is probably not accurate and not reflecting the reality. China's gold acquisition is not done in the formal way. It is happening by the stealth acquisitions on the markets, using intelligence and military assets, covert operations and market manipulations. But results are the same. Gold is flowing to China today, the same as gold was flowing to US before World War II. And China is not alone in the efforts to undermine the dollar as the world reserve currency. Russia has doubled its gold reserves in the past 5 years. Iran has also imported massive amounts of gold, mostly through Turkey and Dubai. Then we have Brazil, India, and more countries which would like to see the change in the world reserve currency. Pound sterling faced a single rival in 1914, just a US dollar. Today, the dollar is facing a bunch of rivals: China, Russia, India, Brazil, etc. During the glory years of pound sterling, the exchange value of the pound was extremely stable. In 2006, the UK House of Commons produced 255 years price index for pound sterling that covered the period from 1750 to 2005. The index had a value of 5.1 in 1751. There were fluctuations caused by the Napoleonic Wars and the First World War, but even as late as 1939, the index was only at 15.8. That means that the prices has only tripled since 1751. But once the sterling lost its reserve currency role to the dollar, inflation exploded. The index hit 757 by 2005. In other words, during 255 years, the measuring index increased by 200% in the first 185 years, but it went up 5,000% in the years from 1935 to 2005. Price stability seems to be a norm for the money with reserve currency status. But since that status is lost, inflation comes in a huge volume. Decline of the dollar as the reserve currency started in 1939, when President Roosevelt dropped the gold standard. The United States has been on the gold standard since 1879, except for the embargo on gold export during World War I. So then, fast forward, we had the year 2000, when euro was created to counterbalance domination of the dollar around the world. The decline of the dollar is amplified by China, emerging as the major creditor and gold power. If you are waiting for the sudden and spontaneous collapse of the dollar, you might be missing the point. The dollar collapse has already begun, and it will be a slow process, not a spectacular event. What's important for you right now is to acquire insurance. So when this process accelerates, your portfolio won't be affected. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you like this video, please hit the thumb up, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with your friends. And also, I would like to hear your opinion about this subject which I was just talking about. What do you think is going to happen with dollar in the future within next 10-20 years? Please write me down your comment. All are welcome, positive and negative. Just remember to explain your position. Once more time, thank you so much for spending your valuable time with me today. If you like the video, hit the thumb up, subscribe to the channel. I greatly appreciate your help with building very simple investing channel. Thank you very much again. Have a great day.